We're live.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard to the Plunder post-game show, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took a defeat back in the locker room, back on the plane, and back to Tampa to the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing 20 to 10. 20 to 7. Yeah. Sorry, my brain's fried. I've been taking a lot of notes. 20 to 7 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Stay tuned.
All hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
Welcome aboard the Black Pearl.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. My name is Derek ManicBuc Stevens. This is BucDad. We are the Plunder, and this is the post-game show for Week 2 preseason game, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveled to the Jacksonville Jaguars and actually came home with a defeat. Everything that I was looking for in the pregame show outside of the pass rush was nil and void. Misador, I wanted to shout out to you before I forget. Misador, my man, you called it out on the pregame show. Tanner New, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Let me look at my notes. Tanner New, he was 5 catches for 33 yards. He did really well tonight. So good shout out to Tanner New, Misador. Well, a few things before I go any further. I want to point out that the transformation of the run game last week to this week was eye-opening. Like, where'd you go? There was virtually no run game, and I'm not even going to blame right now until I go back and watch the game again. The offense, I am going to give credit where credit's due. The Jacksonville Jaguars front seven dominated that game. One can argue that Mac Jones should be the MVP of that game for the Jaguars, but I'm telling you what, those 8 guys up front just kept constantly in the backfield. They stuffed the run. We had, I think, 78 yards, 75 yards, 76 yards total rushing as a team this week compared to 136. Last week, 132.
132.
132. So thank you. So, it was eye-opening as to how abysmal the run game was tonight. What did you see as far as the run game goes?
I didn't get the opportunity to really pay much attention, due to the watch party, it being in and out.
Oh, yeah.
What I did see run game-wise, it was not what it was last week.
No.
Now, maybe there was a different part of the playbook we were trying to execute. New system, new OC. I'll give it the respect. You are playing with second string players. They're not really expecting to get, the type of plays out of that playbook that you're going to get when you got your starters in the regular season. So when it comes to the run game, I guess in a way I got a reality check on what this really could be.
What I saw was, look, first off, talking about the run game, I've got it in big. I took notes during the game, for the show. I don't know if you can see it. So you try to point it out. Can't. Oh, nope. Right there. Right there where my finger is huge. It's like 3 lines deep. Sean Tucker. All right. Sean Tucker was outstanding every time he touched the ball tonight. It was only a few runs. I think he had an 8-yard average. he is really showing up this preseason, and that gives me a lot of hope because you know already Rachaad White's our leading rusher, and he's probably going to take anywhere between 70 and 80 percent of the snaps. Just coming off of last year. And that's without knowing how well Bucky Brooks will consistently fit into the offense moving into the season. With Sean Tucker coming into his second season, having more chemistry, having more familiarity. I mean, we see it all the time with rookies. It takes a little bit. Yaya Diaby earlier in the preseason. I noted in the pregame show, how it was week 4 before he even played in the game. Week 7 before he even started in a game. And he said he was just out there running around last year, and he still accomplished what he accomplished. So when he came in this year, he felt way more confident and way more comfortable because he knew the system. He was familiar with the league, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's the same thing formulating with Sean Tucker right now, because he is really becoming a consistent, 2 games in a row, consistent impact every time he touches the ball. Now, how the longevity of that is yet to be seen. So I wanted to point that out because Sean Tucker was outside of him, 0 run game, 0. Pretty. And again, you got a lot. You really have to look over the game tape to be able to identify offensive linemen and how effective they were. Speaking of offensive linemen, I watched the press conference after the game, and Coach Bowles was asked about one of my key players tonight, Elijah Klein. Elijah Klein was actually moved to the outside and started the game at right tackle and then came back in the game. He is a guard. And remember, we talked about the athleticism.
What's up, Daniel?
We talked about the athleticism of, the interior lineman earlier in the pregame show. But that shows the humongous versatility of a rookie. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is a rookie. Elijah Klein is a 6th round draft pick rookie who come in and played. Now, again, it obviously wasn't evident that the line as a whole played well because Jacksonville pitched a tent in the back. They had s'mores going. They only had 3 sacks, but they were constantly putting pressure on our QBs. They were getting them off of their stance, making them move. Wofford and Trask were scrambling all night, it seemed like. So you got to give Jacksonville their due. But how well does it make you feel that a rookie came in and it can transition fairly smoothly, as the coach said after the game, from guard where he's naturally playing to the outside tackle? He actually mentioned that the guy's gung-ho. He really likes him. So I've got high hopes. And, again, there's a lot of murmurs about him becoming the starting guard before the season's up. Our backups and
like Daniel said,
good.
the backups and depth are not good at all.
Right.
What's your assessment on that?
I disagree. Now, I disagree from this standpoint. I think, first off, let's go ahead before we go any further with that conversation. Backups are backups because they're not starters, okay? And in 99% of the cases, there are some cases where your backup can go to any team and start, but that's how good your starter is, right? And that's a semi-good problem to have. Running game. Look, your backup's Bucky Irving, and then seemingly enough, it looks like it could be Sean Tucker, with Chase Edmonds just being on the squad, right?
Yeah.
That seems like a good sturdy room. Backups. Let's say skill position, your running back, your wide receiver. We're good. I believe our secondary did not play well tonight, which is a weakness. That's not a backup weakness. I mean, Jamel Dean's the only proven guy on the roster as far as cornerback on our team. So, there you go. Okay. Well, look, everybody's unproven. And who we had tonight, we had Izium was in for a few plays. Not Merriweather, but the rookie. Tyke Smith actually started the game at safety, and he did really well. He was in the backfield a couple of times earlier on in the game. But, Daniel, that was a weakness that everybody in Buck Nation knew was going to hurt us on defense this year if we couldn't step up. Now, again, the guys on the field tonight are not the guys that are going to be starting, but as far as depth, No, I don't think we are very strong. I will say out of a scale of 1 to 10, I would say the depth is probably a 6. I would rate our depth after number 2. And I say that saying, Zion McCullen can be that starter, can be that number 2, cornerback for us. And that solidifies the starter, because I do actually have high praise and hopes for Zion McCullen. He actually played very well for a young guy last year. He stepped up in the league. He's had an off season to grow. I think that's huge. And again, it goes back to the culture at the same time. The culture is not going to let this team slide like it used to. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But at the same time, who's to really say that culture really stuck? I mean, yes, maybe for a lot of your veteran core guys like Levante and, Mike, yeah, it stuck. But a lot of the guys like Tristan, yeah, they want it. They want to win. They're going to really push for it. But you're not going to be able to push at this point another 40-plus guys to be on that type of level when
Right.
maybe they may just be coming down to reality.
Well, for me,
are there? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, for me, what I say to that is I can acknowledge the validity in that statement, but what I can also say to counteract that is you're in week 2 of the preseason. And for one, let's go without saying that we're not even going to consider the score. I really don't care what the score was. It would have been nice to have a win, but it really don't make a damn. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at how these guys perform. Like, I obviously can't look at a stat for an offensive lineman. So what am I doing? I'm taking my guy. Like I said, I'm watching one guy on the offense. His name was Elijah Klein. So I look for his number every snap. I see his position. I watch his feet. I watch his hands. I watch how he plays the position. And as far as the skill position, you can go to the box score and look and see, okay, he had 5 catches. He was thrown to 7 times. He missed 2 balls, for 60 yards. So that's, just over, 10 yards. So from that perspective, that's what we're looking at. And as far as cornerback, to get to Daniel's question, to go back to Daniel's question, no, our cornerback depth is horrible. Tonight, it as far as the linebackers, I believe we're pretty decent at linebacker. I like the solid all-around play from all the linebackers. KJ Britt actually started the game tonight. The linebackers were very active, and that's something that in Tampa Bay we're very used to going way back. And I'm not talking about just the edge rushers. I'm talking about the interior linebackers. They played very well the last 2 weeks. As far as that goes, we've got Marquise Watts, who is, I want to say he's a middle linebacker. Isn't Watts a middle linebacker? I know Ramirez is an outside linebacker, which Ramirez got a hat trick with 3 sacks
I was
tonight.
going to say, you know what? And before we get any deeper into this, because you're starting to get into highlights of everything, let's go ahead and show everybody the highlights of the night before we get into any more detail.
Absolutely.
They must have amnesia. They forgot that I'm him. We're smoking symbiote. Smoking that Whoopi Goldberg Bubba Kush. Like a Hellcat
way back.
They must have amnesia.
Yeah, there was only one offensive play. If you paid attention, there was only one offensive play on that highlight reel, and that was the touchdown by Kyle Trask to, I cannot remember who caught that pass. Tompkins, I think. I could be wrong, but We had one offensive play outside of Sean Tucker. That was really the offense. The second half, we were shut down. Kyle Trask ended the game with 12 of 19 for 108 yards with that one touchdown. Wofford ended up 7 of 14. He actually came out of the game with, a minute and 45 seconds left, I think. They called a flag, roughing the passer. The guy hit him in the gut. It was more of along the lines of, was it a forceful into the ground? Because it kind of looked like he could have done that, but because it didn't really look like he was extra late, if you know what I mean. But nonetheless, he come out. Coach Bowles was asked about it. He said it's a rib, but, he'll have to get more information before they know how much, or how bad it will be. Again, Tanner New was 5 catches for 33 yards. Cody Thompson led the team with 5 catches for 66 yards. Again, shout out to Jose Ramirez with 3 sacks on the night. There was a total of 5 sacks by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was a record tying for the most sacks in a single game in the preseason. So 5 sacks is the record for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the preseason game. A couple of key notes that I want to push off before we get out of here is, let's see here, where was it at? Constant pressure. What I saw tonight, one of the most important things coming into this week I wanted to see was pressure. We craved about it last week. We've been craving it for a long time. We've been craving it since Shaq Barrett, had his great year a few years ago. And we haven't really got that kind of performance as a whole or as a single. And this is how close we are, guys, as the backups. We were right there all night. We lived in the back of the other side of the offensive line. We were getting pressure on the quarterback. We got to him 5 times. But how we lost the game, we were 18% on offense on third down. Okay? That's number one. We converted 18% of the time on third down. On their third down, they had 3 or 4 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 18s, and they convert them. That's the result of having those sacks, but not holding on third down to where we can get them off the field and get the ball back. So that was a big plus for me. Elijah Klein showed me his versatility tonight. Sean Tucker, even though it was only a couple of carries, actually showed his continued success on the field individually. I think moving into next week, we've got to reevaluate what happened on the offensive line and in the backfield, which caused the team as a whole to not have a run game. And the wide receivers that played tonight really didn't get separation a lot and enough to help the quarterback who had pressure. So that was a big thing for me. And my take from this game is there's a lot of work to do. But ladies and gentlemen, temper your expectations. This is week 2 of the preseason. This is also a brand spanking new offense. And we're running live football. There's only been 120 minutes of it in Buccaneer football this year. So just be patient. Let it continue to evolve. We all got to understand that it's going to be a few weeks into the preseason before these guys are really on their games. So just be patient, be tempered. Remember, these are depth, backup, and youth players. What'd you think about tonight? What are your final thoughts, brother?
I'm not upset at all, man. It's not really a worrisome thing, because I said it last week when we did the Plunder. I'm not stressed out about preseason. My whole thing is it's new coordinator, new system. I want to see how that works out. I want to see what our depth looks like. Tonight showed our depth looks like dog shit on a lot of levels. On other levels, we seen it last week. We look good.
That sounds to me, that sounds just plain across the board inconsistent.
Yeah, like Daniel said, we're still inconsistent on third downs, on stopping third downs. We could not stop a leak with 8 plumbers.
Absolutely.
That is fair. That has been an issue with us since Todd Bowles has gotten here. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a horrible coordinator. Dude won Super Bowl for us.
It's a weakness.
It is the weakness in his game plan and his deal. His defense, bro. That is
But
it.
it's a risk reward because we blitz probably the
That
top
is the
3 teams in the
issue.
league.
I'm going to say that's the issue with it, but I can't really say it's an issue. It's just an issue because look at it back in the day.
Well, you also got to look at the talent at cornerback. If you're putting
Yes.
constant pressure and you're putting your safeties, this is what happens when you constantly rush, just to give you an understanding of what we're talking about. When you've got 5 guys on the offensive line, you're looking at standard 4 defensive linemen, the number 4, right? People that you're expecting to be in the backfield. Anything more than that typically is considered a blitz. And if you get 5 or 6 players, that leaves the secondary at a weakness because you don't have those extra guys to help cover in pass routes. So what that does is that means the guys in the secondary have to be good. And that goes back to what Daniel said and what we averted to, that the DBs are a weakness on the team. It looks like some of the youth can possibly build up and give us a pass rush this year. We didn't have a lot last week, but you also got to consider that was the very first game in months that these guys have literally played in live action. So I'm not shocked at it, but it was a really good sign to see the pass rush come in, though not only just get the quarterback with those 5 sacks, bro, but to put pressure on that guy all night on both the quarterbacks. So, and just a sour note, both of the backup quarterbacks left the game with an injury tonight. How about that?
I'm not really upset about it.
No,
now,
I mean, our quarterback didn't hurt that bad.
I think, in my humble opinion, I'm more looking at we ended the game getting sacked.
Yes.
My opinion, and why I am not a Kyle Trask fan, I do believe once he got out of the pocket, he should have been able to throw it at least out of bounds. Game was over. I get it. I'm not saying chuck it in the end zone, try for a turnover. I'm not saying play reckless at all. Throw it out of bounds, bro. You're out of the tackle. You're out of that pocket.
Right.
I would have been okay with that. That would have told me 4 years into the game, you learned something. You watched Tom a little bit.
I can't argue with that. But at the same time, this guy was already on the bench. I'm not giving him a pass by any means because I fully understand what you're saying.
No. I'm saying if this was regular season, any other time, game on the line, we weren't going to win the game. I'm not going to be like, this could have won the preseason game for us. Hell
you
no,
fight until
bro.
the whistle's over in the regular season.
I still think with Kyle having the opportunity, bro, he could easily unseat the $1 million quarterback, man. Kyle Trask could easily play the game correctly to the best of his ability and unseat Baker.
He's got the talent.
I know, I get it, man. It's a highly unrealistic thought, but it's a possibility.
I mean, he's got the talent. He actually he hasn't played started quarterback a lot, even in his college career. In his senior year, he actually had a statistically better season than the year Jameis Winston won the national championship in the Heisman with Florida State, which was a really great year.
Bro, that's the issue with college quarterbacks, bro. They could easily have one solid ass year,
and that's what I was going at.
And
he had one great year. One great year, and he had a great year in college.
You're going to get, at that point, bro, you're going to get 5 to 7 NFL teams going, oh, shit, bro, we got to get him.
Dude, look, let me throw an analogy, and I'm not trashing the dude at all, but he is a backup quarterback, plain and simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's a security blanket if your QB gets hurt. I don't believe he's a long-term option. I believe in our system, he could potentially – actually, John Wofford would be my number 2 if I had a choice.
Look, man, I'm just going to say this.
He knows Cohen's system, and that's a plus.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. He couldn't even beat out Baker on a prove it deal.
Who, Kyle? Yeah, yeah.
Couldn't even beat out Baker. And I mean, bro, I'm pretty sure they had Kyle on the thing penciled in as number one before Baker got there because hey, let's see if Baker can do it. Baker could have shit the bed, man.
Yes, yes. Well, look at this. Look at this analogy. You take Kyle Trask over here, okay?
Yeah.
And we know as Buck fans what he's been through, where he's come from. He's been on the team a few years, et cetera, et cetera. All right, now, here. Mac Jones. Does anybody know the history of Mac Jones last year? Like, I've never thought that cat would be the same, dude. I swear to you, the emotional trauma that you saw not just one time, but multiple times throughout last season where he didn't have the right people around him. That was a horrible situation for Mac Jones. And I hate that because you saw I was listening to pregame, and right after we went off the pregame, I was listening to the pregame of the show of the game, and they were talking about how they had conversations with him earlier in the week about how he was happy. And one of the coaches said, Mac Jones looks like he's playing football and loving it, like he just learned it and found out what it was. He's that happy.
Bro, wouldn't you be happy too if you didn't have Bill Belichick cussing your ass out?
But that goes what I'm saying. That by the time Tom Brady left, that system and that culture was gone. So that was a bad situation. But my point is, Mac Jones, to me, looks like a quarterback times 3 better than Kyle Trask.
Yeah. But you want to know the reality of Mac Jones?
He's a backup QB.
He's a University of Alabama quarterback. Only 2 quarterbacks since Roger Staubach have even gone on to make anything decent of an NFL career. Their names being Tua Tagovailoa, and I will always say Jalen Hurts because that's where he began his legacy of being the quarterback that he was. Yes, he finished at Oklahoma, and he went a little bit further with a few things than he did in Alabama. That being said, those are the only 2 quarterbacks that make a damn for themselves. Mac Jones is showing you exactly what Alabama quarterbacks do. Just like A.J. McCarron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Now, that being said, that's still no compliment to Kyle Trask, and that's the point. I believe, and we've talked about this on the Plunder before, months back, at the end of last year. This is going to be the end of Kyle Trask after this season.
The reason I call him Kyle Trash.
I mean, there is a reason. I'm going
to say this though, man. Listen, the thing that I'm just trying to get at on everything, the game tonight, this preseason, I just want to see how they look chemistry-wise. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I think for the most part, we looked decent as a whole. There was a lot of mistakes inside individually that we need to clean up that cost us the game. I.e., not having the coverage that we needed on those 3rd down and longs to be able to keep those drives from
improvement, bro. Week 1, I want to see an improvement with 3rd down defense like that. Yes. Overall, I want to see that improvement over anything. The pass rush, bro, that's great, man. I love that we can have pass rush. I was reading something earlier, somebody defending the Hassan Reddick deal. I don't remember who had said it, but we don't have. They were mentioning that we don't have a double-digit sack member on our team right now. Nobody is that person, and that's cool. Personally, I don't care if we have a double-digit person at all.
I think that's a lie, though.
We don't have anybody. No, we don't have anybody that has produced it.
Has produced? No. Do
we have players capable of doing it? Absolutely, bro. Elijah Cansey can do it.
Yaya.
Thank you. Yaya can easily pull that
and
off.
You know what I've seen over the last few weeks? so can Tyke Smith. I think Tyke Smith.
Tyke
I
Smith
mean,
can.
he's one of those nickelbacks. Remember Rondé Barber? That cat will get in the backfield and get
Hey,
on your
and
QB.
you know what? You know what? If Jose Ramirez can do what he did tonight, and I get it, man. Jose Ramirez did it against backups. If he can literally do that against a starting deep or offensive tackle, I would love it, man. Even if he had 1 or 2 sacks a game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you having 3 sacks every game, bro. I'm not looking for 2019 Shaq Barrett.
Look, you give me a sack a game. If you can average a sack a game.
You know what? The energy that I had for Yaya Diaby last year is the same energy I got for Jose Ramirez or any rookie defensive player that is wanting to get sacks. You know what, bro? I just want you to produce on that field. I want you to tackle the ball carrier.
Yeah.
Are sacks great? Yes. But I want you to play smart football.
Well, see, his weakness, Jose Ramirez's weakness, and Todd Bowles spoke on this, speaking of Jose Ramirez, was his run-stopping ability. That was part of the reason why he didn't see a lot of playing time last year, was because he wasn't that good at the run. And Coach says he knew he was a pass rusher. That wasn't the problem, but it was being able to bring on the development of his rush game and the growth of his rush game, but bring up the development of the rush defense that is his weakness. So that's something to keep an eye on with him specifically moving forward, is how effective is he going to be in the run. Well, I think we pretty much covered it all tonight. It was a productive night, and I say that to say this: there's going to be a lot of game tape to watch inside One Buck this week, and what that's going to do is give the team something to focus on and something to work on. Because if you don't have a problem, it's because you ain't looking for it. When you look for a problem, that's your job at that point, is to go fix that problem. And Jason Light and Todd Bowles, I trust. So thanks again to BucDad for coming on the show and being the producer he is. Once again, shout out to Bucs Life and NSPN. We appreciate you guys so much. And guys, we will see you this Thursday live on the Plunder. Until then, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.